Welcome students of Thakur Vidya Mandir High School and Junior College. Students, we are going to deal with the part 5 of your chapter 2 Mechanical Properties of Fluids. In this part, I am going to deal with the different motions in fluid with the Reynolds number, viscosity and derivation of terminal velocity. Let us begin on with the different motion in fluids. Now, study of motion in fluids is called as hydrodynamics. As the study of motion of real fluid is very complicated, we shall limit our study to the motion of an ideal fluid. Let us deal on with the different concepts that are seen in the motion of fluids. The first one is steady flow. It is measurable property such as pressure or velocity of the fluid at a given point which is considered to be constant. Let us move on to flow line. Flow line is the path of an individual particle in a moving fluid. Let us go to the stream line. Stream line is a curve whose tangent at any point in the flow is in the direction of the velocity of the flow. If I move on to the fourth concept, that is a laminar flow. It is a steady flow in which the adjacent layers of a fluid are moving smoothly over each other. Let us talk about a flow tube. It is an imaginary bundle or flow lines bound. Let us move on to the last concept, which is called as the turbulent flow. It is a flow at a very high flow rate so that there is no steady flow and the flow pattern changes continuously. So far I spoke about these 6 different concepts. Let us understand these moving fluids are evident in our day-to-day life. For example, taps, the flow of the cooking gas in the tube, the flow of the river water or a canal. Now whatever I said will be much more easier if I show you the diagram exactly what happens. The flow lines, as you could see out here, would be seen in this tumbler or a hollow sphere. The lines which are flowing across in the forward direction are called as flow lines, and this particular cylinder is called as a flow tube. Now when I show you the B part of the diagram, the upper square shows a streamline flow and the lower square where it is seen that your flow is disturbed vibrantly, it is called as a turbulent flow. Critical velocity and Reynolds number are the two terms related to the flow of the fluid. Students, let us understand this in details. The flow of a fluid, whether streamline or turbulent, is differentiated on the basis of the velocity of the flow. The velocity beyond which a streamline flow becomes turbulent is called as critical velocity. Let us move on to Reynolds number. It was termed by a scientist whose name was Osborne Reynolds. Critical velocity is given by the formula Vc is equal to Rn multiplied by eta divided by the density multiplied by d. Now Reynolds number is a pure number. It has no units, no dimensions. If I consider the 3 cases, I will be giving you the flow of the liquid. My first case which is considered is if your Reynolds number Rn is less than 1000, then the flow of the fluid is streamline flow. It is flowing very smoothly. If my Reynolds number Rn is greater than 2000, it becomes turbulent. For example, there is a flood in the river. Third, if Reynolds number is between 1000 and 2000, then the flow is just turning from streamline to turbulent, and this flow in intermediate is called as unsteady flow of the fluid. After the flow, students, let us understand the term which is called as viscosity. Flow was smooth as we have seen in water, but viscosity is something which is thick. For example, when we pour syrup or honey, it sticks to the container. The friction within the fluid itself and between the fluid and its surrounding is called as viscosity. Now I'll show you 2 examples. The first example is you could see in the left hand side, water has low viscosity and the viscosity of such fluid is 0. For example, when you see the diagram, you could see the viscous flow, that it is flowing very nicely, and when I come on to the non-viscous flow, you could see the arrows which are showing you that this is having a flow which is very, very smooth. Let us move on to the another concept which is called as velocity gradient. When I talk about the flow, students, the rate of change of velocity, that is dv, with the distance dx measured from a stationary layer is called as velocity gradient. Example, you could see the stationary layer which I have shown you in the diagram, and you could see the flow. When I talk about the flow, students, the blue arrow which is indicating you the exact flow. The second arrow is showing the velocity of the layer, where you could see the above arrow showing you an added flow, that is v plus dv, whereas the below arrow is showing a v minus dv, that is, it is showing you the different sections where the flow is either fast or the flow is either slow. When I come on to the distances traveled, again you could see that the red middle arrow is showing you the distance which is traveled. The arrow towards the right hand side, that is the small red arrow, is showing you the distance which is being reduced. Whereas towards the left hand side, x plus dx is showing you the distance which has been increased in this laminar flow. Let us consider the examples on the triangle which I have mentioned above. The water near both the sides of the river flow slow. At the center, the flow is fastest. Whereas we could see that there is some opposing force between the two adjacent layers affects their relative motion. After understanding the different terms related to the viscous, that is the viscous, non-viscous flow, and the intermediate flow, let us move on to the numerical value of finding viscosity, which is called as coefficient of viscosity. Let me define the viscous force per unit area per unit velocity gradient is called as coefficient of viscosity. According to the Newton's law of viscosity, for a streamline flow, that is, a viscous force acting on any layer is directly proportional to the area A and the velocity gradient. So if I take a ratio, that is dy by dx, it is given which is proportional to the area multiplied by dy by dx. So if I consider the net force which is acting on the fluid, small f is equal to eta multiplied by capital A multiplied by dv by dx, where eta is a constant called as the coefficient of the viscosity of liquid. Now this, if I try to write it alone, my eta value could be found out by reversing the above formula, and I could write my force divided by the area multiplied by dv by dx. Thus, the coefficient of viscosity can be defined as the viscous force per unit area per unit velocity gradient. SI unit of viscosity is given as Newton second per meter square. Let us move on to one more concept which is called as Stokes' law. Now this diagram which is shown out here was given by Sir George Gibril Stokes in the year 1845. He stated that the law which gives the viscous force acting on a spherical object falling through a viscous medium. Now in the diagram you could see the students that there is a spherical ball which is moving through the layers. Now these are the layers of the fluids which are not free flow, it is viscous fluid. The law is stating that the sphere, when it is falling through the medium, it is proportional to the radius of the sphere. So if I consider the radius of that sphere which is within, the velocity v which I have shown down with an arrow, that is your Fv, is showing the force with which the fluid is moving along, and the coefficient viscosity, as we have discussed in the earlier slide, is eta. Let us go on to the derivation of the Stokes' law. What did the Stokes' law actually stated as? The viscous force acting on a small sphere falling through a viscous medium is always or directly proportional to the radius, that is the first part, to the velocity, which is the second part, and thirdly the coefficient of viscosity. So all these three terms are going to be multiplied together and given with a directly proportional value. So you, in the second step, you could see that force is directly proportional to eta multiplied by r multiplied by velocity. The empirically obtained constant of the proportionality is 6 pi. So in the third step, when I relate it, my force directly proportional to 6 pi eta r v, and this becomes the expression for the viscous force acting on a spherical object moving through the viscous medium. Thus, this becomes the expression of the Stokes law. The above formula can be derived by using dimensional analysis also. The last topic for today's part 5 is terminal velocity. Let us understand what do you mean by terminal velocity. Terminal velocity is nothing but the forces acting on an object moving through a viscous medium. Students, when we go through the diagram, you could see that I have written an addition of the Fu plus Fv. Fu is the upthrust force which is acting, and Fv is the viscous force which is acting on a viscous medium fluid. Let us talk about the downward arrow which is representing mg, and this is the normal gravitational force which is acting downwards. So when I consider or when I try to explain you, we will be seeing that as a small object moving or falling through a viscous fluid, the viscous force is directed upwards. Its magnitude goes on increasing with the increase in velocity. So this is directly proportional. When I talk about the gravitational force acting on its weight, Fg is acting vertically downwards. So this is going to be an inversely proportional. Now when I talk about the buoyant force or the upthrust force, you could see that it is also directed upwards. Let us go to the derivational part of the terminal velocity. When I talk about the derivational part, students, I would be saying that the net downward force is given by the formula where small f is equal to Fg, that is the gravitational force, minus the summation of Fv plus Fu, where Fv is the velocity of the viscous fluid and Fu is nothing but the upthrust force. So these are responsible for the initial increase in the velocity. A stage is reached when the net force becomes zero. Let us understand what is the stage when the net force becomes zero. If I take Fg and Fu as constant and Fv increases with the increase in velocity, then this stage is arrived. That means that the entire description necessarily applies to a streamline flow. Let the total downward force acting balanced by the total upward force. So when I take this, I would be moving on to writing down the total downward force equals total upward force plus the weight mg. So what I have said, students, I have written down or I have equated this through the equation which is mentioned below. It is 4 by 3 pi r cube rho g, which is equal to 6 pi eta rv. Now 6 pi eta rv is nothing but the upward force which is acting plus 4 by 3 pi r cube rho g, which is going to give you nothing but the weight of the sphere mg. This total expression is seen clearly on the page number 48 of your textbook. There are a few steps in between which we could resolve, and after the final resolution, the velocity v, what I am going to get is 2 by 9 r square g multiplied by density minus sigma divided by eta. This is the expression for the terminal velocity. Thus, the above equation gives us the coefficient of the viscosity of the fluid. With this, we have so far completed all the topics related to the drag or related to the smooth flow of the liquid. If it is dragging around, it is viscous in nature. If it is flowing smoothly, then it is showing you a streamlined flow. Students, let's move on to the assignment questions. Write down and explain the different terminologies in the fluids of motion. This is what I explained you in the first part of the presentation. Go on for the distinguish between the streamline and the turbulent flow. Students, this is mentioned in your textbook page very clearly, where the distinguish is on page number 44. Make a mark of it. Define the critical velocity and explain Reynolds number, a very important question from the board point of view. State and explain Stokes law and derive terminal velocity. With this, move on to the reference of e-textbook, the link which I have mentioned out here. Go through the presentation clearly with a neat label diagram. Prepare your notes and clear your concepts thoroughly. Thank you, students.